you to just close your eyes, relax, rest in the presence, and hold space.
Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamare. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vakrajandaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Ganapataye Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamare. Ganapataye namo namaha. 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 Om Agratandaya Mahakaya Suryakuti Samaprabha Nirvigyam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Ganapataye namo namaha. 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 Ganapataye Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Suklam Bharadram Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadaram Dhyaye Sarvavignyopashantaye. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Om Ekadadaya Vidmahi Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Namo Namaha.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online global Satsang. Satsang being a Sanskrit word that means community of truth. Wherever people who are on the path of discovering the truth, awakening, the flowering of the heart, divine union, come together to share their journeys, we have a Satsang. We can just call it a spiritual community, but it's so much more than just that. I'm glad you're here. We're working with so many other beings throughout the world to help humanity shift as quickly as possible from a global civilization rooted in competition, conflict, and war to a new world rooted in cooperation, harmony, and peace. And that can only happen when people's hearts flower and they awaken beyond duality and separation into oneness. That happens one person at a time, but to really change the world, the whole collective consciousness of humanity needs to shift from competition to cooperation. That would be quite a work. We believe that when enough of us awaken, the scale will tip in the collective consciousness to awakening. And so that's why we do what we do. That's why we're here. And so glad you have consented to the journey of awakening and transformation. There couldn't be anything more important at this time. We share something throughout the live stream webcast called the Flowering Heart Blessing, which is a direct transmission of divine awareness, awakened divine awareness that catalyzes in the recipient the process of awakening. If you're already in that process, it will hasten it and help to remove blocks. If you're already awakened, congratulations. That's not a destination, though. On we go, infinitely expanding. And the Flowering Heart Blessing helps even awakened ones to go deeper. So you're soaking in it right now. It comes directly from divine source. It doesn't belong to any particular religious or spiritual tradition. It belongs to the divine itself. And we're fortunate to receive a blessing that is so unencumbered. It's free. The divine just really spoke to both of our hearts to not charge anything for this, and to let people know that if you want to give the Flowering Heart Blessing, all you need to do is receive it once, and you're initiated. It's a beautiful thing. We've worked with many different kinds of energy transmissions and transmissions of divine consciousness over decades. This one's very special. That's why we call it the Flowering Heart Blessing. It goes right into the core of your spiritual heart and begins to awaken that connection within to divine source. And once that happens, it just begins to flower, literally, and radiate outward through all the layers of our being, bringing awakening, clearing, inspiration, transformation, healing. It shines out through us into the world around us, contaging other people with higher consciousness. Higher consciousness, positive consciousness, is infinitely more powerful than negative. And we don't even have to think to be aware of the effects of negative energy and negative consciousness around us in the world today. Imagine if this light begins to be released in the collective of human consciousness. Well, it's going to change the world. So, you're part of it. Glad you're here. Please join us in sending the Flowering Heart Blessing to all those that are with us tonight and those that will participate in the days ahead. For many, many times more people than we'll actually have with us live watch this over the next few days, and hundreds actually. So it's hold an intention for all the people that will ever view the video of this satsang tomorrow, this week, next year, however long it exists and people watch it, that they'll experience this delightful energy and presence that we're sharing tonight. Please give us, I was going to say, if you're here. Of course you're here. Who am I talking to? But if you're on Facebook Live, please give us a thumbs up or a heart, a like, or a love, because we like to go in and see who drops in and who views these satsangs, and we send little extra hugs and blessings to you. If you're on Vimeo, you need to just enter something in the chat and say, hi, it's us, namaste, and we always check there as well. I think there's a way to do it on YouTube and LinkedIn. Since I never watch there, I don't know. You can figure it out, though. Let us know you're there. I look for it. Okay. We'd like to open it. No special announcements, right?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. True. Then it's time to open it to questions and answers on the spiritual journey. Anything about awakening, divine union, prayer, meditation, past lives, future lives, whatever kind of life you've got going on in multi-universes, we'd be just happy to talk about it and try to shed some light, clarity, and understanding on what you might be thinking about, puzzling over. Okay. Well, while you listen to that still small voice, sort of inspiring you to throw a question out that will be nice for you, but for everyone else too, because our spiritual journeys, though unique, are parallel, and we go through similar challenges and ups and downs. So whatever you're puzzling over, everybody else has or will at some point. So if you ask your question, it will help all of us. While you're thinking about that, I have 12 inspiring quotes from indigenous leaders. Every week, pretty much, I like to share these little articles from inspiringquotes.com. There's a group of authors, and they write little articles on relevant topics, just a couple paragraphs long, and then share quotes from inspired philosophers, mystics, poets, and people from all walks of life throughout time. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on some things that indigenous leaders have said. This was written by one of my favorites, Tony Donnell. Tony's an English writer of nonfiction and fiction, living on the edge of the Amazon jungle. Oh, Tony, that's the place to be. Unless you're right in the jungle, and that can be even cooler. But the edge sounds right. Anyway, here we go. Here's what Tony writes. According to the United Nations, there are currently more than 370 million indigenous people spread across 70 countries worldwide. In total, they belong to some 5,000 different indigenous groups and speak more than 4,000 languages. Many of these groups have distinct social, economic, and political systems, as well as distinct culture and beliefs. Sadly, they are often marginalized or directly threatened by more dominant powers in society, despite having been the original inhabitants of the land they occupy. Indigenous people often have a strong attachment, understanding, and respect for their native lands, be it the Great Plains of the United States, the Canadian prairies, or the Amazon rainforest. This connection is frequently apparent in the wise words of indigenous leaders, both past and present. Today, with many indigenous communities on the front lines of the battle to protect our natural world, this wisdom is perhaps more important than ever. The following quotes span the centuries and the globe, from the words of famous Native American chiefs to the current leaders of indigenous peoples still struggling to protect their lands, their heritage, and the planet. Now, disclaimer. I am challenged at pronouncing correctly Native American names. So, please be patient with me. I'll do my best. Here's our first quote. Abuse no one and no thing, for abuse turns the wise ones to fools and robs the spirit of its vision. That was by Chief Tecumseh of the Shawnee. He tried to unite several Native American tribes before his death in the War of 1812. This we know. The earth does not belong to man. Man belongs to the earth. All things are connected like the blood that unites us all. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Chief Seattle of the Duwamish and Squamish is the namesake of the city of Seattle, Washington. When a strong tree grows, be it ever so strong and large, it rots away gradually, and down it goes at last. But through time, another young tree shoots forth from there. And as it grows, it gathers beauty and strength. Chief Peguis or Pegui, I'm not sure. Chief Pegui of the Saulteaux, Canada. Pegui or Peguis initially helped European settlers, saving some from starvation, but became increasingly concerned about illegal settlements on tribal lands. Sounds like the help that the early settlers got in what is now the United States. The earth is the mother of all people, and all people should have equal rights upon it. You might as well expect all rivers to run backward, as that any man who was born a free man should be contented, penned up, and denied liberty to go where he pleases. Chief Joseph of the Wallam Watkane, or the Wallowa band of Nez Perce, who led his people through a tumultuous period of forced removal from their ancestral lands by the United States federal government. The American Indian is of the soil, whether it be the region of forests, plains, pueblos, or mesas. He fits into the landscape. For the hand that fashioned the continent also fashioned the man for his surroundings. He once grew as naturally as the wild sunflowers. He belongs just as the buffalo belonged. Chief Luther Standing Bear of the Oglala Sioux was an author, philosopher, and actor who fought to preserve his heritage. Love is something you and I must have. We must have it because our spirit feeds upon it. We must have it because without it we become weak and faint. Without love, our self-esteem weakens. Without it, our courage fails. Without love, we can no longer look out confidently at the world. Chief Dan George of the Tsil Waltooth Nation of Canada. It's these Canadian names that are the hard ones for me. He was an actor, musician, poet, and author. Even though you and I are in different boats, you in your boat and we in our canoe, we share the same river of life. What befalls me befalls you. Oren Lyons is the Onondaga Nation chief and member of the Indigenous Peoples of the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations. Cows run away from the storm, while the buffalo charges toward it and gets through it quicker. Whenever I'm confronted with a tough challenge, I do not prolong the torment. I become the buffalo. Wilma Mankiller. Whoa! Wilma Mankiller was an American Cherokee activist and social worker who became the first woman elected as principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. Wow. It is the early morning in the Amazon, just before first light, a time that is meant for us to share our dreams, our most potent thoughts. And so I say to all of you, the earth does not expect you to save her. She expects you to respect her. And we as indigenous peoples expect the same. Namante Nenquimo. Nemante Nenquimo is a Warirani leader of the Ecuadorian Amazon. In 2020, she was the only indigenous woman on the Time 100 list of the 100 most influential people in the world. The struggle, like life itself, should be joyful. Miriam Miranda of the Garifuna community of Honduras. Garifuna community of Honduras. I am so challenged. These pronunciations.
You're even trying. That's great.
Yeah. Anyway, Miriam bravely continues her fight for human and environmental rights today despite facing numerous hardships. Stand up for what you believe. Just having that strong determination can make other people join you in your struggle. Silvia Carrera is the cacique general of the Nagopi Bugle Comarca indigenous territory of Western Panama, known for her ongoing battle against mineral mining. We get a lot of strength from many principles, including reciprocity. You are me, and I am you. And that gives us strength as women, and this connection with life and the web we have among each other. Ora Lolita Chavez, a women's rights activist and member of the Council of Quiche Peoples in Guatemala, is a prominent global leader in the struggle to preserve natural resources. Thank you, Tony. Now I could tell he was on the edge of the Amazon. Beautiful. Some Christian soul might say, well, of course the earth belongs to man, not man to the earth. Well, I'll tell you what, everything belongs to God, and we are stewards of it. And that's the biggest thing we can say about our claim to the earth, is that we're responsible to tend the garden and to protect her. Just saying. Okay, let's see what we got. Facebook. Oh. Really? Another week with no questions. Well, we may have to come up with another format, because this depends on you to be asking questions. I know you got them. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. I could throw out a question, but that's not my job. I want to dance with you in spirit. So, what would you like to know more about in the spiritual journey? I mean, there's so much to know about the path of awakening and the various things that you go through and encounter along the way. And whew, meditation is deep waters. And I know most of you do that. So I'll wait another minute or two, and then we'll...
Something just came up.
You have amazing stories. If you ask amazing questions, I have even more stories. Yeah. But see, because this isn't about me, it's about you. Which is why I don't like to dominate satsang with my stories. How about telling us one of yours? A friend of mine who's a Taoist master of some repute in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame, and quite a healer, an amazing mystic. No names need to be said. Occasionally comes under fire from some of his brother abbots because of his devotion to Christ. Although I think everybody's starting to understand, but he just shared with us that he was sitting in his temple and a portal opened in spirit, and Jesus walked through in his physical body. My abbot friend was working to heal someone at a distance using Taoist energy work and spiritual work, and Christ just stepped through this portal, and he said, I was completely outdone. Wonderful. So that's it. That's my story for the night.
That last quote reminded me of when I was younger and traveling a lot. I traveled to a lot of different countries. And one thing that I noticed within a very short period of time, maybe a week or so, is that no matter what country I went to, I always had this very deep connection with the women there because we have similar life experiences. And, you know, we may have different programming or different ways of seeing the world based on how we grew up, where we grew up, our religion, our families, our ancestry. But there was always, I always felt like I could connect with another woman in whatever country I was in and just have this very deep, deep heartfelt understanding of what it's like to go through life as a woman. And that was just so universal. It transcended any language barriers or any concepts or culture or anything. It just, it was a beautiful experience, very beautiful experience. And you can have that with all of humankind too, but I was very young. I was in my early 20s, late teens, and that left a big impression on me.
If we're humble and our hearts are open and we're connected to the earth, I think we find a connection with indigenous people everywhere.
Right.
I remember when I first started going to Hawaii, I like to hang out in Maui a lot, and there's often tension between people whose skin is as light as mine and some of the Hawaiian elders because of the long history of abuse. And I came as a Taoist. You know, I came working with energy, rooted to the earth, doing Tai Chi and Kung Fu, and the elders were sitting there and said, "We like you, Michael." and I realized that it's the spirit we come in, and so if we just keep an open heart and a humble heart and acknowledge the people whose land it is that we're visiting, I think we find the right people and they see us. Yeah. Well, Yekaterina writes, "Well, I'd like to meet Jesus and or Mother Mary. How can I make it happen?" You can't. Neither did my friend's a master. He couldn't make that happen. I can't make that happen. Nobody can make Christ appear physically, though he has numerous times over the last 2,000 years. That said, he made a promise. Wherever two people come together in my name, two or more, I will be manifest. I am manifest in their midst. So it would just be a matter of being with one other person, Yekaterina, who has that same feeling, and just invoking the divine name, and then just open up. For him or any other saint, be it any other saint, including Mary, to take a manifest form, they'd have to have their physical body. Most don't. Most are in spirit. There are a few that took their bodies with them, probably more than a few. There are a few we know about. But, you know, I think it's up to them and up to the divine if they actually manifest a spiritual, physical form in our midst. But we can certainly experience their presence in much more life-changing ways than just having a vision or just, you know, oh, we'd love to have a vision, of course. Or even seeing like Christ or Mary just like step through the wall into the room and say, touch me. I mean, that would be life-changing, probably. But experiencing communion with the divine presence and merging and melting into oneness with the divine is ultimately more transforming than any experience, any spiritual experience you might have on a sensory or a psychic level. That's what I want to say about that. You want to share?
No, I think that, you know, there's so much going on around us that we just have learned to not see because it's not common for us. I know a little game that I like to play with small babies when I'm like in the grocery store or whatever and they're in front of me. I ask the divine to help me make my aura sparkle. And I can't see it, but I can actually feel things bouncing around in bright colors. And it's interesting to see the babies. I mean, their eyes just get captivating, and then they're looking all around me, and there's usually smiles and giggles that go along with it. there's so much that's going on that we don't see because we've never been taught to. And so it's a good reminder that the more that we deepen with the divine presence and ask for grace and to be more open to have a deeper connection with your divine, the more it will manifest. We just have to get our heads out of the way so that our heart can show us what's real.
Oh, I'm not good enough. The divine would never visit me. See, we have these kinds of programs, even if we know better now, and for years we've been renewing our minds with positive affirmation, positive truth. Still, before we reach the age of reason, society kind of gives us these programs about God is unknowable, God is distant, you've got to be really special like a saint to have an experience like that, which is not true at all. But it takes some real work to surface that programming for defeat and dissolve it. And that's our work. Ekaterina wrote after that first question, I just feel them. So before I even said what I said, you were on the right track. And that's good enough. I mean, feeling through the heart. It's your spirit feeling communion with Source. That's where it all happens. And actually having visions or physical manifestations, as exciting, as that is, it tends to get in the way of the journey to just emptying ourselves of everything else but the yearning to melt in love, in oneness with the presence, which is where it all happens.
It's funny, I'm a very visual person. I learned very easily visually, and but when I'm doing energy work, I don't really see visions. I might see some colors, or I can feel if some area is warm or cold, and so it's more of a sensory perception that's not visual at all. I always thought it would be more visual for me doing that kind of thing, but I've had to really get more sensitive into the subtle nuances of life as opposed to just the direct flash.
Ekaterina writes, I can feel your beautiful aura. It really sparkles, Suzanne. Yeah.
Just pretend I'm looking at a bunch of newborns.
I'm very fortunate to be able to hang out with this lady. Indeed. Any other questions? Let's check over Vimeo. Oh, okay. My question is, why don't you have any questions? It's not hard. The answers are harder. Come on. How many people say, just ask me anything? The hard questions. The ones that'll really put us on edge. We'll take them gratefully and joyfully and receive an answer from the light.
What is a hard question? I don't understand that. What is a hard question? We either receive the answer or not. I don't know that there is.
I could cut. Never mind. Yeah, there are some. There are some, but if you can't come up with the easy ones, you're not going to come up with the hard ones.
That's fine.
All right. Okay. Well, in that case, your assignment between now and next week will be to come up with something that you could ask that you don't think you already know in the satsang, because we love to bring light and clarity and understanding, and ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. You have not because you ask not. So go ahead and close your eyes.
Oh, and if you're watching this later on throughout the week and you have a question, go ahead and email Michael, and then he can put it on cue for next week.
Or if you want to wrap with Suzanne at floweringheart.org, or Michael.
That once a week. Check yours every day.
All righty. She's being difficult.
Not really. You are.
So So close your eyes, invoke the presence, open your heart, and begin to drink in the grace that's being poured out within you and upon you. The presence, the divine presence, is not far away. In the presence, you live and move and have your being. Nothing exists outside of the divine presence. And it is pure unconditional love. Love is what dissolves fear. Love dissolves anger. Love is the very essence of life in the Spirit. So drink it in. Let this all-powerful, all-knowing, all-wise being who knows what you need before you even know what you need. Let the divine pour grace into you and fill you with love. Fill your heart with light and draw you into the embrace of oneness with divine source. Let it flood your soul, your mind, your emotions with the light that dissolves wrong thinking, all negativity and programs, and let it fill you with divine inspiration and overflow into your physical body, healing your diseases, your pains, flooding you with divine health. Shining out into your relationships, bringing healing, balance, love, health to your relationships, shining through you out into the world to touch and to begin to transform others around you. Nothing for you to do. You don't need to ask for anything. Just drink it in and receive it now. Let the divine draw you into the center and flood you with grace. Keep breathing it in, soaking it up. receiving. Imagine with your eyes closed, we're sitting in a blessing circle together, and lift up your hands with your palms open, facing forward. And just let your burden go. Whatever you're concerned with, the situation, the person, the circumstance, just release it into the center of the circle as we all take a strong intention for your burden, for your trouble, for your situation, to be met with divine intervention and release and blessing. As the blessing is flowing through you to all the others in the circle, it's flowing back to you through all of them. And we're taking a strong intention that the situation you've placed in the middle of the circle is being flooded with divine grace and resolved. Release it, release it. And just be grateful. When you're ready, relax your hands in your lap somewhere and open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me as we dive into the light meditation. Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of grace and light and love, and it streams through our entire being to you, especially through our eyes, which mystics have called the doorways of the soul. All you need to do is keep gazing at least one of our eyes. That's all. And as you just keep looking and relax, the light streams out through our eyes, into your heart, igniting the fires of divine love and the light of awakening within you, causing it to shine brighter and brighter and brighter. Just You could close your eyes now. Meditate with us for a couple more minutes as the grace settles within. Now keep meditating as long as it feels good to you. And you could lie down in Shavasana. Find a place comfortable nearby to lie on your back. With your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides, with your palms open, turned upward. Just lie in the presence and dissolve in gratitude. It's a wonderful. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Till we meet again, know that the divine within us beholds the divine in you, and we bow to you. Namaste.